Today I will tell you about a man who survived, got married, and changed his last name after those events. Now he wants to be known only as Trevor Rees. As we know, in the summer of 1997, Diana preferred to go to the Fayed family precisely because Mohammed promised her reliable protection. He did have a large staff of bodyguards, one of whom was Trevor Rhys-Jones. So what did Rhys-Jones have to face on August 31st? As we remember, at first there was a shock that Diana and Dodi would leave the hotel from the back without any guards at all, while the bodyguards would sit in 2 cars in front of the entrance to the Ritz. Trevor later said this: "I advised Dodi to leave the front entrance of the hotel in 2 cars, as the crowd and the press would be pushed back to the square across the street. Initially, I was informed that Dodi and Diana would go without security, and I said that this would not happen, that I would go in the car with them. And in 4 minutes, they will reach the support number 13. From the moment the Mercedes pulled away from the Ritz to the accident, it took only 4 minutes." Trevor calls these 4 minutes missing. Mohammed Fayed insisted that his former bodyguard had not lost his memory and knew exactly what happened that night. In 2000, Rhys was thinking during an interview, "I'm the only person who can tell people the truth, and I can't remember anything. It will be so easy if I remember. I'll be able to tell people, and all this nonsense will end." What kind of nonsense are we talking about, and about the numerous conspiracy theories that accompany the events of that night? Let's remember the facts. The accident occurred at 00.23. Some kind of iron mess. How did a man survive here? At first, Trevor was only put on a collar to fix his neck. While nothing else could be done, the man was trapped by metal. The roof of the car was cut off more than an hour after the accident, at 01.41. Finally, the creepy limo is empty. Rhys-Jones was brought to the hospital, the same one where Diana was already, at 02.25. He did not know yet that he would stay here for a month. Almost immediately, Trevor fell into a coma due to the severity of his injuries. He did not come to his senses for 10 days. This is not surprising because every facial bone was broken. When the surgeons were planning the operation, they asked for a photo of Trevor to know what his face looked like in general. I wonder how Mr. Rees is going through the security framework now. He has 150 pieces of titanium in his head, or do the frames not react to titanium? In 2000, surgeon Luke Sahani, who was fixing the bodyguard, said he had never seen a living person with so many broken bones. The words of Trevor's mother: "His face looked like it had been hit with a frying pan from the Tom and Jerry cartoon." How much do you think the hospital bills could have been for, and how did an ordinary security guard manage to pay them? The sums came out astronomical. All expenses were covered by Mohammed Fayed. At that time, he visited his employee in the hospital very often, praying for his recovery. Mohammed was waiting for the guy to come to his senses. He would tell him what happened in the tunnel and who was to blame for it. Trevor woke up, but 4 minutes had completely disappeared from his memory. Mohammed was very disappointed by this. Diana's bodyguard, Trevor Rhys-Jones, arrives at the Palais de Justice in Paris on Friday, December 19, 1997, for questioning by the investigating judge. He was the only survivor of the disaster. Trevor Rhys-Jones left Fayed in 1998, along with Alex Wingfield. Mohammed was convinced that the British security services were responsible for the accident. He demanded that his team be assigned to investigate the causes of the disaster. According to the Telegraph, Ms. Fayed then said, "You betrayed me," and accused Rhys of his disloyalty. Trevor later claimed that Mr. Fayed exerted strong pressure on him to make him remember the events of that tragic night. During the trial in 2008, Lord Justice Scott Baker stated, "No communication has been established between the security services and any of the bodyguards. When Trevor quit, he returned to his mother and stepfather in Shropshire. After recovering a little, he found a new job at a local sports store. Oh, if only it would be possible to put an end to this and continue to live on." Trevor was tracked down by a book publisher in 2000 and invited to tell his story. The advance was such that it would be foolish not to agree. $1,800,000. Rhys-Jones agreed. He was probably hoping for some kind of relief in life after receiving the money. I think that even though he was young, in August 1997, he was 29. A strong, trained man, such injuries do not go unnoticed. But some people, rich and unsatisfied, still couldn't calm down. Mohammed Fayed sued not only in England, but also in France. One of the defendants in the case was a former bodyguard. Mohammed Fayed never tired of claiming that the book about the disaster, written by Rhys-Jones, was a tangle of lies composed by MI6, and later he was given a job in the UN Security Service as an incentive to ensure his continued silence. As a result of the legal costs, there is little left of the colossal fee. Yes, Trevor was not destined to sell spinning rods and rugby balls for the rest of his days. He became a United Nations security consultant and worked in East Timor. Trevor served in East Timor from 2000 to 2002. In 2003, he got married for the second time. His wife's name is Ann Scott. She's a teacher. 3 years later, the couple had a baby. The girl was named Nia. But a quiet life did not come immediately. As the same security consultant in 2008, Trevor Rees served in Iraq, helped protect foreign workers, and at that time there was a war there. In the same 2008, an investigation of the disaster was finally conducted in England. Of course, the former bodyguard was interrogated. Although Trevor talks about his amnesia all the time, something still stuck in his memory. During the investigation, he said, "I remember seeing a motorcycle at a traffic light to the right of the car. I'm not sure about the other vehicles, but I remember this bike very clearly. My memories are in complete confusion. I don't remember the pain, but my head was a big mess. I don't remember if someone was holding me or trying to give me medical help. I remember hearing someone moaning and saying Dodi's name, but I do not know who said it. On the other hand, if there was no one there but us, I conclude that it was Princess Diana, since it was a female voice. These memories are vague, and I doubt it myself, but I mention them because they come back to me repeatedly. Do you think he really doesn't remember anything? What about the fact that Dodi made or was about to make an offer?" Trevor said bluntly, this did not happen. He also denied another claim by Mr. Fayed that the crash was the work of agents of the British Foreign Intelligence Service, saying, "I am not involved in a conspiracy to conceal the truth at all. All I've ever done is tell the truth as I see it." What happened later? Until 2011, Trevor Rees continued various consulting work at the United Nations. Until 2017, he oversaw the security of the Texas oil company Halliburton in Iraq itself until 2013, where, as they say, he earned the bulk of his capital. In 2017, Rhys-Jones returns to Shropshire to become head of global security at AstraZeneca, the firm that developed the COVID vaccine at Oxford University. An amazing story. He survived, built a career, earned a house for $500,000, started a family.